Okay, welcome to tonight's guided meditation. As usual, we're going to sit for an hour. So be prepared to sit there still for an hour. If you're not ready to do that, you may wish to grab a chair before we begin. I'm going to do some. I'm going to lead you all through some, pretty Vajrayana inspired stuff. And so, if at any point it just sort of leaves the realm of what you feel like doing, you can stick with what we were doing before, because we're going to start out with some pretty basic stuff and then go to some pretty wild and crazy stuff. So if you want to stick with the basic stuff, when I sail off into this other direction, feel free to stick with the basics. It's up to you. This is all just suggested meditation. Don't have to follow. Good. So begin by simply checking in with yourself, asking the question, what's it like to be me right now? And then just looking. How's your mind doing? How's your emotions doing? How's your body doing? And so on. Just check in. Not how you want it to be or how you think it should be or anything like that. Just what's it really like right now? And if the answer is something that kind of boils down to, damn, I'm really fucked up right now, then just let that be okay. Or anything else. Just let it be okay just the way it is. There's no way we're supposed to be. So just let yourself check out what it's like to be you right now and then let that be that way. Then we'll begin the Shamatha portion of our meditation. Simply allowing awareness to be very, very, very broad, wide open, sky-like. And just allowing the sense of the breath rising and falling in that awareness to be a kind of home base for now. So we're not really concentrating on the breath. We're just allowing the feeling of the breath to be there in awareness, in this very broad, open awareness. And it's kind of a mild anchor. But mainly we're just letting awareness be very, very, very broad and rest in that wide open, spacious mind. And as you're continuing to just allow this very broad, spacious awareness to rest in open, bright, empty, clear mind, noticing the breath wave rising and falling, just allow the out breath to become quite a bit longer than the in breath in a way that feels comfortable and easy. Don't strain in any way, but just let that out breath be a nice, long release. Letting go of tension and breathing out any tightness or busyness or constriction. Just breathe that out on this long out breath that is like a deep letting go. And if you want to, you can do ujjayi breath, where you're making a sound in your throat as if you're whispering. That can help you to regulate that long out breath. But you'll notice it's a physiological response when you breathe in deep and then have a nice, long, even out breath. And the ujjayi breathing helps that out breath to be real even. When you breathe like that, it tends to calm things down quite a bit. To put it imprecisely, it triggers the parasympathetic response. And make sure you're keeping a very wide open, spacious mind while doing this. We're not really concentrating on breathing. Staying wide open and relaxed and just doing nice, deep in breaths and very pleasant, long out breaths. Just allowing yourself to settle and to become collected, integrated, relaxing and opening and relaxing and opening. Allowing all tension to drain away with those long out breaths. Allowing the whole body to relax and open. Good. Now, if you already know how to do Lom Vilom, Anulom Vilom, or alternate nostril breathing, go ahead and begin doing that. If not, I'll show you how to do it. Just breathe in through your left nostril, holding your right nostril closed with your thumb. And then close your left nostril, opening the right nostril, breathing out the right nostril. And then breathing in the right nostril, closing it, breathing out the left. So it's very straightforward. Just always breathe in one side and breathe out the other. Long, deep breaths, especially long out breaths. If you do this for a little while, you'll notice it's very, very soothing, very relaxing, and also it does some bilateral stimulation. So there's a sense of, I guess we would say, balancing that arises. Everyone teaches the details of this slightly differently. From my teacher, you close the right nostril with the thumb and the left nostril with the middle two fingers, but everyone does it different. If you want to make this even stronger, then on the in-breath, do a long Om mentally in your mind. And then on the out-breath, another long Om. Continue doing that, and if you're comfortable with it, and only if you're comfortable with it, at the end of the out-breath, push out the last little bit of air and just hold your breath for a few seconds, like 5 or 10 seconds. Nothing difficult or dangerous, just a little bit. Just hold the breath. Only at the end of the out-breath. Do it in such a way that when you then start breathing in, it's very relaxed. It's not a sudden, just a nice relaxed in-breath. And then when you're ready to finish on a left nostril. So exhaling on the left, because we started by inhaling on the left. And then continue just resting with vast, open, spacious awareness, feeling the breath wave coming and going, but noticing that much, 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 much deeper sense of relaxed openness and but it's also kind of energized. Right? You feel perhaps some sense of a little more wakefulness, a little more energy going together with the relaxation. And also a sense of harmony. Very good. Now let go of even following or noticing in particular the breath and just come to the vast, spacious awareness, just the sense of a wide open awareness, wide open mind, absolutely natural without any effort of any kind. You don't have to make awareness big, just let it be naturally spacious and open, a real sense of unguarded openness. And anytime you get caught up, snarled up, tangled up, just come back to spaciousness and ease. Just relax back to spaciousness and ease. The empty, clear awareness. Good. Now, if you want to stay here and do shamatha or whatever, you're welcome to do that. If you want to go into the the playful deep end, then we're going to do that now. So into the sky of the mind. The mind is like a wide open sky. Notice a brilliant sun arising in the sky of the mind. A bright, brilliant, beautiful, friendly sun rising in the mind. And this sun is the visible expression of the bodhisattva of compassion, Avalokiteshvara in Sanskrit, or Chanrezig in Tibetan, Kanon in Japanese. And I'll mispronounce the Chinese, but essentially Kuan Yin. So this sun is the energy of a fully enlightened bodhisattva, radiating kindness, joy, friendliness, and equanimity. And so just notice this brilliant sun in the sky of the mind, radiating energy of kindness, joy, friendliness, equanimity, and really feel that. Really feel it bathing you with these energies. And the bodhisattva of compassion beams compassion towards you. The bodhisattva of compassion beams joy in your joy towards you. The bodhisattva of compassion beams friendliness towards you. The bodhisattva of compassion beams equanimity towards you. The four immeasurables. Feel yourself bathing in these energies. And you can keep seeing that visualization, or if you're good at visualizing, see an image of Avalokiteshvara, a Buddha-like image who is totally white, who has 4 arms. 2 arms are together in a prayer pose. Another arm holds a crystal mandala shining with the power of the mantra. The last arm holds a lotus, symbolizing the open heart of compassion. See this bodhisattva smiling benevolently as he beams these energies towards you. Joy, kindness, friendliness, equanimity. On his head is Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light, a radiant sun of intense enlightenment. Avalokiteshvara sits on a moon disk and is backed by a moon disk and wears beautiful robes. So picture this, if you're capable, picture this bodhisattva very, very clearly, shining brilliantly. Or if there's any part of that image that stands out, maybe it's just the lotus, maybe it's the prayer pose, maybe it's his serene face. Picture just that part of it as clearly as you can and feel the energy of love, kindness, compassion, joy, friendliness, equanimity, soaking into your entire being, your mind, your heart, your body, your spirit, bathed in compassion and kindness and equanimity. And as your mind begins to open, and your heart begins to open, and your body begins to open, and your spirit begins to open, Avalokiteshvara approaches closer and closer. Until mentally chanting the seed syllable Rihi, 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 or some people say Ri, Ri, Ri. The bodhisattva of compassion becomes you. You turn into Avalokiteshvara. Your mind radiating equanimity and wisdom, the wisdom of total emptiness. The heart radiating joy, kindness, caring, compassion, friendliness towards all beings. See the light radiating out from your bodhisattva body to all beings as beams of light radiating in all directions. Feel the energy of kindness and caring and equanimity and joy radiating out in all directions very powerfully. Now we're going to make this even more powerful, continuing this radiating outward of your compassion energy as the bodhisattva of compassion. We're going to potentiate this with the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. And we're going to chant it in such a way that we take breaths at various times, but not all at the same time. So when we get to the Hum, don't everybody take a breath and then pause and then start again with Om. It just continuous. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani. Okay, so you're chanting the mantra out loud, and the energy of the mantra is the energy of Avalokiteshvara is the energy of compassion, kindness, joy, love, caring. There is no enlightenment without love. There is no awakening without kindness and caring. This is the energy of liberation. Liberation is caring. So beaming powerfully in the visual, also chant very powerfully with a lot of energy together with me. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Hum, Om Mani Padme 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 Hum. More energy. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Now continuing to radiate the energy in all directions as Avalokiteshvara, as powerfully as you can, sending love, joy, peace, healing, kindness, friendliness, equanimity in all directions. Now begin to notice the total constructedness of this experience. So little by little, or even all at once, the visualization vanishes into pure space, nothing but empty spaciousness. The sound of the mantra vanishes, all sounds vanish into pure, total emptiness. The sense of you doing anything at all, you being anything at all, vanishes into perfect, pure spaciousness with no remainder at all. And then just rest as empty, clear awareness. The awareness of a bodhisattva. If awareness starts getting tangled up in concepts, just relax back into spaciousness. Concepts can be there, thinking can be there, but do not be involved with it at all. Just come back to spaciousness. If you find yourself entangled or ensnared in thought, just relax, come back to resting as awareness itself. Notice awareness itself can just be completely outside of thought. Thinking can be happening, that's fine, but just completely not engaging. Resting instead as just wakefulness, empty, bright, clear wakefulness. Just let go of any entanglements and return to resting as vast, spacious awakeness. Very good. Now, just for a few moments, bring back up the sense of radiating kindness and compassion and joy and equanimity in all directions, including yourself. Radiate in the direction of everyone in the room, and then everyone in the area, and then everyone in the world, just radiating out joy, kindness, compassion, friendliness, equanimity. The space of empty, clear awareness, radiating pure love, pure kindness, pure equanimity. Bringing peace to all beings, including oneself, healing to all beings, including oneself, joy to all beings, including oneself. Very good. Now let's bring the meditation to a close for now. Feel free to move and stretch. If you need to use the bathroom, feel free to go do that. Not here, go do it. Whoa! Be careful getting up if your legs are numb. It can be a little treacherous. I've done that many times. So that was a short, kind of abbreviated and version of doing deity yoga. Never done that before, and now you have. And the basic idea is to, become the deity. And to do that, we build up the entire image of the deity, not only in the mind's eye as an image, but in mantra as sound, in the body as the posture, maybe even in the hands as mudra. Right? So we fabricate an entire deity image and feel the emotions of that deity. So we have the mind of a deity doing mantra. We have the mind of a deity with this compassion and wakefulness, and the speech of a deity with the mantra, and so on. And the part where we're doing the mantra, you can do that as long as you want, right? It can be quite a long time. And then, very importantly, at some point, you just see the constructedness of the whole thing, right? That's completely a fabrication, a mental fabrication, and then we just see it dissolve into complete, utter, total spaciousness, right? And then the mind just rests on a good day as the mind of a bodhisattva, right? Just perfectly spacious and clear, and also filled with compassion. And on the way in, we did some pranayama, which is a typical way to both get sort of balanced, but you also, I don't know if you noticed when you're doing the alternate nostril breathing with a little bit of breath holding, you get kind of energized, right? There's a certain buzz to that, and that's lifting your energy a little bit, so the visualization part is more powerful and a little easier. So that's the basic idea. And you've seen, if you've been following my meditations for a long time, we do like various versions of stuff like this, but this was a little more, not fully not fully the sort of like rubber stamped way to do it, but pretty close. So very good. So comments, questions about that, or about meditation in general, or whatever else, or reports. How did that go? Anything coming up for anyone that they'd like to say aloud, that they dare to speak out into the room? Yes, Rakan.
When the pain comes up in the legs,
Yeah.
is there some no pain, no gain aspect to this thing, or you know what I mean?
And again, you're talking about numbness from like your legs falling asleep, or you're talking about your joints hurting?
Like actual pain.
Well, both of those are pain. So I'm just at what kind?
I would say it's probably from the joints hurting.
Okay. I encourage you to be kind to yourself. So, sit in a chair next time, or have an extra cushion so you're sitting higher with your pelvis tilted forward so your knees don't hurt as much, and so on, right? In general, just take care of that in the easy way. But then if the pain is coming up, and if you're committed to not moving, which is pretty much the commitment in this room, not going to move. But I only want you to do that if you know you can do it, right? Because you sit this much. Then the idea is to just notice the emptiness of the pain sensation, right? Remembering emptiness doesn't mean it's not there. It means something like it is suffused with spaciousness and surrounded by spaciousness, right?
And I tried that. I tried to go into it and verify, several times that it's just composed with this emptiness. But I guess that's the reason I asked, was because it seems like when things get intense and you use those intense things to verify the emptiness, is there some extra value in that situation as opposed to just kind of your garden variety thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, the idea is to get better and better at seeing emptiness in harder and harder situations, right? So it's not that I want you to, hurt yourself, but there's enough suffering already in life to work with uh, uh, with that in Vipassana, to really see the emptiness of it. But again, don't hurt yourself in sitting that way. Make sure that you're ready to sit for an hour and that feels good for the most part. Yeah. Yep. What else? Yeah, Matt. Bell ringer Matt, as he's known throughout the land.
Yeah. So after we were dropping the visualization of the deity and resting in spaciousness and kind of non-doing, feeling a lot of maybe sympathetic joy and compassion come up. And then I don't know if the conception I'm holding of equanimity is slightly off or not helpful, because I feel that a lot of the mudita or the compassion is a really positive valence for me, and I'm still sitting with it and seeing it's empty, but it's still positive valence. And for me, for some reason, my conception of equanimity is that not much valence at all, or stillness.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right.
People have the idea that equanimity means you don't feel anything, but of course, at least the way we're working, that's not what it means. It's that you're really okay with how you're feeling. So that's really positive. Whatever comes up, I'm okay with that. Right? It's a real, kind of second order. So you could be feeling rage and have equanimity about that, and that'd be positive, right? So
the not grasping or pushing.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I can be with this. It's fine. So it's definitely, if you dig into kind of the history of the four immeasurables, all that, equanimity is kind of the final one. It's sort of the culmination, right? But it doesn't mean like, oh, eventually I get over good feelings about people and then I feel nothing, which is somehow how people hear it. It's like, no, you feel more joy and kindness and friendliness and love and so on. And that kind of culminates with this kind of real openness to all experience. Could call equanimity openness to all experience. Right? So it doesn't mean you're somehow tight, nothing, I'm not feeling anything, just somehow how we hear it. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah. Lady Red.
After we dropped the deity yoga fabrication, I found that space to be really quiet after.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. And then I was starting to get kind of like lots of colors dancing underneath my eyelids, kind of like the fire kissing after image thing, but just my eyes closed the whole time. And I was wondering if that's what people mean by nimitta.
It can be, but in this way of working, we're not very concerned with that.
Okay.
It's like that's a side effect.
That's just happening.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing, but neither is it something to be paying much attention to in this one meditation.
And then I had a second question, which was, just kind of going off some stuff I've been reading about the hindrances and about soul dullness. I've been trying to figure out while meditating, what is the energy level I should have? Like, should I be trying to be at every single moment, either in attention or awareness, and there's no moments of dullness? Or should it be more relaxed? And I don't know, just is there an optimum, or is it depending on what your practice is at the time?
It's stage dependent. So if you're in the shamatha part, like the elephant path part, any of that, then you want to be in the perfect balance between relaxed and energized.
Yeah.
And if you're too relaxed, then you're going into dullness. If you're too energized, you're going into scattering, right?
Yeah.
And so the whole elephant path is just getting more and more real finesse between those two things. At first, it's gross dullness and gross agitation, and then eventually it's really, 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 really subtle flickers of dullness or agitation, right? So so there is an optimum point there of complete balance between those. But later on in the meditation, when we are resting as, empty, bright awareness, that particular kind of awareness can never be sleepy. Your body and mind can be sleepy, but the awareness itself isn't. And so there's a different kind of thing going on there. You still want to be, don't want to be nodding off in your practice or whatever, but eventually you'll notice that you might, in the middle of being asleep at night, dead asleep, that wakefulness can still be there and so on. It gets very strange. So even though as we're practicing, we want to maintain, our wakefulness, over time, you'll notice that odd definitions of dreaming and sleeping and so on start coming into it. So
when I'm in the second portion of the spaciousness, I guess I'm kind of checking constantly for self-dullness.
Don't.
That TMI,
no, that's a great for the earlier stage, but this is a different thing altogether. So you got to drop that.
Drop that, and then self-dullness is just the mind itself.
You're just not thinking like that. You are not thinking, or if thinking's happening, that's fine, but you're just not engaging it. And you're noticing that there's a aspect of experience that is wide awake. That's why it's called Buddha. Buddha means awake. You're wide awake. And that can be there even when the mind is super dull, which that's getting pretty far along that sequence, but that's
Yeah.
what that's like.
That feels right. Thank
Yep.
you.
Sam.
Yeah, something it's not thinking, right? And
Remembering that I keep saying you can think all you want. It's just you're not engaging. It's just happening.
when we let go of the deity visualization, there was this it was almost comical for a bit, like this very subtle dance between noticing that it begins with an idea to notice emptiness, or it begins with the intention to rest into emptiness. And then I'd start noticing when I'd be looking at like the mental idea of emptiness that I'm trying to get to, and then I'd try to either just release it and let it perish, or just by direct inference recognize that it's only awareness that can be aware of the idea.
A couple different methods. Yeah.
And it just started getting so subtle that it was kind of funny. Like I almost couldn't tell anymore between resting as emptiness and having like a very subtle mental representation of emptiness.
Sure, but in the end, even the subtle mental representation of emptiness is empty, right? So if you're starting to go along that path, you might just be eventually seeing the emptiness of even the complete concept, right? It's not that anything is ever truly outside of that, right? Make sense? Kinda?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt?
It's a question of like, maybe you've addressed this elsewhere, but emptiness not really being a state, but like a adjective that can describe states. Like we say resting in emptiness, but then we have these situations where whenever we cognate it, it's not quite empty, or it is, but it's still empty. Is it a state, I guess is my question, versus...
It's just the way things are. And you might be noticing that or not, but it's just the way things are. That's why Vipassana is seeing emptiness, right? Seeing, but the word really means seeing clearly. You're just seeing the way things are. But that's a little different from the kind of modern mindfulness thing of the way things are, like, well, I'm just sitting in my totally reified world with my butt on the cushion and everything's solid and normal and super materialistic, or whatever you want to call it. You know, just being with that versus being with what actually is, which is emptiness and appearance, right? So it's not a state because it's just the way things are. Okay, but we can be more or less tuned into that. Okay? Zev?
When I extended the exhale,
Yeah.
The instruction was to relax. But as I was doing that, I noticed that my abdomen was tensing.
That happens. It's probably you're just extending it too long. It's becoming stressful. So just do it shorter, easier. That's why I kept saying don't do anything that's uncomfortable, because it's like it's easy to go too far with that when you're not ready. Okay? Yeah, what's your name?
Hi, I tried to.
Hi, your name is?
Amin?
Amin.
Yeah, I was corresponding to you a while back.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a question. This is probably one of my biggest conflicts.
I'm sorry, about what?
It's just one of my biggest conflicts that I'm
I
having.
see.
I'll try to verbalize it the best I can.
I'll try to hear it.
I'll try to project better. So it's related to emptiness, and let's say rage is rising or anger is rising, right? And if it's momentarily, I can see the emptiness in it, and I can let it be, let it come, let it go, and that's fine. But then, how does one react to something like anger? If you always let it come, let it go, and you take this philosophy to an extreme, you can just sit and not eat. You know? But on the other hand, if you don't do anything, and I guess what's the difference between that and being compulsory with that? Just reacting to it. It's kind of hard for me to bridge a gap between being compulsory towards anger versus not reacting to it at all. Like, where do you express it? Where do you, it's arising, so what happens?
Empty expression.
What is that?
It's expression that is empty. So if you're seeing the anger as empty, for the most part, it's just going to move through and not do anything. But sometimes it's appropriate to express some of it, like, "Hey, stop hitting that person." You know, that might get kind of angry. Stop it. That's appropriate anger. But even that expression is empty, right? Just like any other kind of expression could be empty. So it's not that there's just this emotional world that's empty, and then all the expression is, solid and real. That too, we have to just kind of arises from spaciousness.
So one example then. What about, so as an example, I heard that personally you get annoyed if the cushions are flipped such that the zipper faces you.
Super annoyed. Like it ruins my evening.
Okay, so if I were you, I would be super conflicted about expressing that because it's like, okay, I don't like it, but why would I care about that? It can just come and go.
Yeah. That's like saying, like what you're saying, if I truly see the emptiness of everything, then maybe I should just not eat.
Yeah.
Right? You're kind of saying the same thing. It's like, well, if everything's empty, then stop existing.
Yeah.
But that's not what emptiness means. Emptiness is never separate from arising. All arising, all of it is empty. Not somehow suppressing arising into some kind of fake doing of emptiness.
But it can arise without suppressing anything.
Right, not suppressing anything. Even, hey, turn the zipper around. Still, you still get to be alive. So the idea that somehow, I remember a long time ago, very specifically, I finally figured it out. I had it. I was like, this is it. Here's how to truly get enlightened. Just completely only do stuff you hate. Always do stuff that you dislike and would never do and find completely awful, because then you're always, being seeing the emptiness and being awake. You're never like, and obviously that's fucking stupid. But for a minute there, I had it. I had the key, And there's a whole world of spirituality like that. Like, let's, I don't know, just asceticism of various sorts, right? And there's a thing with that. It has a thing, but it's just not for me. It's not the way to go. So, where's the dividing line between stuff that is worth saying and not? Things that we can express or not.
Yeah,
There isn't one. Every single thing has its right place. And its right place is with the zipper that way. Yeah.
Sort of
Alias.
on that note of still getting to be alive, and then also how we a lot of us misconceive what equanimity means. I feel like that happens with compassion sometimes too. Like this was sort of spurred from a conversation earlier, but I was thinking a lot about like where does discernment come in compassion. Like I always love to give the benefit of the doubt in like any situation, and then
That's generosity, right? Yeah.
like just float through the world. Like you were like, oh, like stop hitting that person. That's where like discernment would come in. Like, is that a part of compassion, or is that
Of
like
course.
something separate?
I mean, otherwise compassion would make us idiots, right? And so we don't like nothing about this practice makes you an idiot. Like, well, no, everyone, is worried that if they do this meditation, they won't be able to think anymore. Or they won't be able to do something they know how to do anymore. And it's like, no, it's not brain damage. And furthermore, it doesn't make you stupid. And so, there, of course, probably if you've been doing Buddhist meditation for a while, you've heard the idea of idiot compassion. It's a thing, right? Like, oh, you're murdering people, but I hope you feel happy to, save today. And it's like that's not compassion, right? That's stupidity. So discernment is always part of it, always part of it. And remember that compassion doesn't mean being nice. Like if you want to really make fun of Buddhism, you can summarize the whole thing incorrectly as it's really nice to be nice. Isn't it? Yeah, I feel nice. Are you nice? And that's not what it is, So yeah, discernment is there. If someone if someone is beating a puppy, stop them from doing that. I mean, come on. So yeah, Pranab.
With that line of questioning, with the last two, I think there's some. I've been looking into Tibetan iconography, and there's interesting stuff with like wrathful bodhisattvas,
Sure.
Arukas and stuff
Sure.
like that. Could you talk like a bit more?
All of which is Indian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you talk? I mean, that seems like exactly up this alley. So wondering if you have pointers to more stuff around that, or you could talk about that.
So there's peaceful bodhisattvas and wrathful bodhisattvas, and then bivalent bodhisattvas, and they all have their place. And the point is that the wrathful ones are just as much bodhisattvas as the peaceful ones. They tend to be protectors. Not always, but they tend to be protectors. So, but that energy is, the energy of fierce compassion or protecting yourself from your own, delusion or whatever. There's lots of ways to understand it. But, potentially you could, this doesn't exist, but potentially you could have bodhisattvas with every kind of quality, right? Here's the drunk Cheeto eating bodhisattva, and we're going to worship that guy for a while, so that when I'm drunk and eating Cheetos, I'm covered with Cheetos, I'm just passed out. I noticed the awakening in that, right? So there's potentially a whole range. They just kind of go along this one axis with a bunch of other properties. But it's really, really interesting. And just, not in terms of religious tradition, but in terms of kind of like history, most of the wrathful bodhisattvas are deities of other religions that are brought in, right? So it's kind of like, you've got Mahakala, which is just Shiva, right, as a protector in Buddhism and so on. Yeah.
So some of the previous conversation was reminding me of the last question that I had during retreat about basically guiding your actions.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion, maybe I'm wrong, that all this practice and spaciousness allows you to be able to path. Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
felt it would,
recall-
you would become like a sociopath.
No, but no, no.
Like you just do anything.
Well, but like so. I mean, that could happen, but it doesn't
That
give you
was-
a framework.
It does give you a framework.
Okay, so that's the
Yeah.
question.
The framework is the four immeasurables, you know, sympathetic joy, compassion, friendliness, and equanimity, right? That's like this basic background, right? Now you're having all kinds of other emotions as well, and those are all, of course, appropriate, inappropriate, whatever. But it's not that you're just wildly doing anything.
But how is it derived from spaciousness? Like even the four immeasurables. It seems like somebody like at some point decided these are the things that you should use to guide your actions, and then we use them to guide our actions.
In terms of maybe those four words, maybe, but the more, I said this many times during the retreat, the more that you relax into spaciousness is welcoming, spaciousness is warm, spaciousness doesn't have a boundary between me and you. So spaciousness doesn't do things to others. It has a basic goodness, basic kindness, just because it's wide open. And so everything's derived from that.
But is that because we are the way that we're wired? So let's say if there would be somebody who's actually sociopathic and does this, would they turn around, or they would just not be able to access it?
Find out.
Well, I don't think I'm sociopathic.
Then don't worry about it.
Okay.
Work with your own experience for now. What I want to say is, well, they'll turn around and stuff, but I've never seen it. I don't consciously have a bunch of sociopathic students, so it's not like I, have seen how it works or doesn't work. So it'd be really nice, kind of, and kind of religious to be like, oh, they'll turn around, but maybe they don't. I don't know. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's like unless you're a sociopath, and then I care and let's work. But otherwise, you're just churning. It doesn't help. Mark, you were raising your hand.
Yes, I think there's a similar theme moving here. This is more of a report, but I usually hate this practice. It's not my jam because it's almost like you lead us into this beautiful Shamatha, this you're up in there into stillness, man, and then you're like, okay, now there's some work to do. It just harshing on my mellow. But today, I think it's...
I know becoming a deity just totally sucks.
But it does, because it feels like, to me, visualization is like I've got to hold it and I don't lose it and
Well, maybe that whole mood is the issue.
well, there was something different happened today.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if it's just like I'm still rolling from the retreat, the spaciousness. And also, I mean, when I close my, I always see the psychedelic patterns all the time now. I don't know if it's because
I wonder why. Yeah.
Way too many psychedelics. It's fine line. But nevertheless, I was.
And you're way past that fine line. Yeah.
So it was anyway. I was letting those happen. I was in the spaciousness, and it was almost like a kind of just leaning into letting that colors form the deity,
Sure.
instead of me like trying to like pull one out of a book. And then again with the feelings that came with it, instead of that kind of bullshit, maybe like it was almost just like remember those feelings, the remembrance, and then it just kind of did it by itself.
Yeah, good. So you're adjusting the dials until it starts to actually feel good.
Yeah, it almost felt indulgent a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's this beautiful thing that I go in, and I was ramping it up on my own terms, not on your terms.
Yeah, good.
And,
But notice the Protestant like mistrust of it. It was indulgent because it felt good. It's like can't feel good. So it's like, like let it be nice, let it be beautiful. It was beautiful. It can be like lovely. Somehow, there can be a sense of like that's not it.
Well, you said it should have been white. I was cheating. This is kind of like rainbow colors.
Well, actually, if you go into the full visualization, it starts turning into the 5 colors. And blah, blah, blah. I've taken it easy. I didn't want to work you too hard. Like Mark's here, we're gonna.
Two-dimensional.
Yeah. Any other burning? Very good. Let's switch into Katie Devaney mode.
Mark, we're going to have you guide all the metta here from now on. Some bullshit. Just show up and phone it in. If you miss the retreat, sorry for all the inside jokes from the retreat. Don't miss another one. You'll get the jokes. Yeah. Okay. So we have a few things coming up. You just missed the retreat. You also just missed the last in a 5-week series taught by Eric Davis and Christian Greer on the psychedelic counterculture from the 1950s to the present. It was amazing. We're trying to convince them to do it again because it was so good. I am like not just casually, interested in that stuff, and I learned a lot. But we have a kind of encore, coming up this Wednesday. We have Doc Kelly, who's the co-founder of the New York Psychedelic Sangha, and he'll be here talking about the 5th precept, which is the no intoxicants precept, how it relates to Buddhism and psychedelic Buddhism, and what he's learned in his time since starting Psychedelic Sangha on both a kind of philosophical level and on a practical level. So he's here all the way from New York City. That is next Wednesday from 7 to 9 in this room. So,
and if you find yourself being triggered, like psychedelics and Buddhism, then this is the guy to listen to.
Mark is super triggered.
I'm so triggered.
Yeah. He's like levitating. He's also going to lead a Vajrasattva practice. So there's going to be some discussion, some Q&A, and some practice. It's going to be a really fun night. So that's here 7 to 9 next Wednesday. Before that, though, on Saturday at 1 p.m., Christina Lazar will be here doing her monthly Alligator Lizards in the Air integration through creative expression workshop. If you don't know who Christina is, there's a lot of her art on the walls in the hallway. And moreover, she curated that whole exhibition that's outside. If you guys haven't heard me talk about this yet, that is all women visionary artists. So all the art is female visionary artists from around the world, curated by Christina. And once a month, we have her here for a couple of hours doing this integration workshop. She's amazing. She's like a force of nature. So I would highly encourage you to be here for that. If you have is there anything else you want to say about that?
It's making art, but it's not about art making. Mm-hmm. So you're integrating through painting, but there's no suggestion that you be good at painting. It's just, that's the medium to help you express whatever came up for you that you're trying to integrate, which could be from meditation, could be from psychedelics, could be from psychological work, could be from anything. And so she's very good at facilitating that sort of expression.
Do you happen to know what medium of painting?
You mean what kind of paints?
Acrylic or...
In this case, acrylic.
Okay.
Or you can bring your own if you have something else you prefer. Yeah, but if you don't have supplies, there are supplies here for you for that. And finally, for upcoming stuff, this is breaking news, hot off the press, not announced yet. But how many of you all have like a friend or a partner or like someone who meditates, but they do not want to come here and just sit like absolutely still for an hour? Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah, that's what we thought. So we're doing a class called Introduction to Meditation, and it's going to be taught by Tucker Peck in the back of the room. He's not going to teach it from the back of the room, but that's just where he is right now. Yeah. And that's starting on March 22nd. It's going to be a 6-week series, and you come to all 6 weeks. So start telling your friends. And the idea is you can sort of walk in, you've been using an app, or you're curious about meditation, or your friend knows you have some weird hobby, but you can't explain it to them. You're like, I don't know, I visualize a deity. And so you could send your friend or your friends who want to learn how to meditate to Tucker's class. And at the end of the 6 weeks, they'll have a better grasp on what meditation is and how to do it. So that's coming up. Keep an eye on the newsletter for details about how to register for that. And you can tell people about that. If you're not on the newsletter, I've got to say, you're missing out. Editing the newsletter just for typos and checking the links and stuff is one of the highlights of my week, because it's really well. Sasha Chapin writes the newsletter, and then Eric Davis edits it. So we have like 2 layers of professional writers on the newsletter. So if you're not on that, you could sign up for that on the iPad in the lobby.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Was there more?
I was going to talk about your Patreon, but I don't have to.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Don't worry about Michael's Patreon. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for thinking of my Patreon.
Yes.
Let's sit for a few minutes. Really just a couple minutes. Very good. Let's reconvene in the lobby area, or living room, as Katie calls it.